day of celebration of all human rights for all people. Grant us your grace to fearlessly contend against evil and to make no peace with oppression. And as we reaffirm today the importance of human rights for all, make us instruments of your peace. Where there is hatred, let us sow love. Where there is despair, give us hope. And where there is darkness, show us the light. Empower us in all we do, that we may continue to make a difference in this world. We thank you for the leadership of our speaker, Mayor Tim Kelly, and his presence here today. Please be with him as he speaks with us. In the meantime, we ask your continued blessings upon us, that we may pay it forward and blessing to others. It is in your holy name we ask these things. Amen.
Good morning. On behalf of the 9 members of the Tennessee Human Rights Commission, I'd like to welcome you to our annual Chattanooga Human Rights Day celebration. Our mission is to safeguard individuals from discrimination through education and enforcement laws. We do this through the enforcement of the state's anti-discrimination laws, as well as ensuring the state of Tennessee's compliance with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prohibits discrimination based on race, color, and national origin by state agencies receiving federal financial assistance. I'm honored to be joined in representing Southeast Tennessee on the commission by Commissioner Gary Behler, whose day job is Hamilton County Juvenile Court Clerk. We appreciate you joining us and welcome you to today's program. And now it's my honor to introduce Mayor Jim Coppinger, Hamilton County.
Thank you, Robin, and it's an honor and a privilege to be with this group today. And I want to say thank you particularly to Robin Derryberry and Gary Behler, who represent our part of the of Tennessee in the Southeast. Appreciate all your hard work. It's important work, and I think that's why we're all joined together today. While we know the actual celebration for Human Rights Day will be on December the 10th, it's a reminder that, as we all know, that every day should be about human rights. So the question that is always asked is, why do we feel this way? And my answer is always simply because it's the right thing to do. As leaders, and everyone that is on this commission obviously is a leader, but as leaders, it's obviously our obligation to ensure equality and fairness for all, regardless of race, gender, or creed. So again, this is something that's taken into consideration, particularly in county government, every single day. And, I've had the opportunity to be in county government actually since 2006, been mayor since 2011, and even prior to that, had the opportunity to spend 28 years in city of Chattanooga government as a firefighter, and worked my way up to be fire chief. And it was an emphasis even back then for the city of Chattanooga. I'll have to admit, it was pretty challenging in the fire service, and we were able to make a lot of inroads there. As you can imagine, as it relates to gender, it was particularly hard, and also hard with minorities. But if you go back and look at what we were able to accomplish there, I'd say it's one of my proudest moments. When I went there, we had like one female firefighter, and when I left, there was well over 20. And it was really hard in that occupation to be able to attract women. And today, there is lots of women after breaking that barrier. The same is true in the leadership roles in the Chattanooga Fire Department. And again, proud of being able to accomplish that. I will say that it may be a little bit more difficult in county government. People stay here longer. We don't get the applicant pool that which you get in the city of Chattanooga, and we simply just don't have as many employees. So again, it's more challenging here. But again, it's just really important that as leaders that we set a standard to ensure the fairness for all of our employees. And certainly it all starts with hiring and promoting. We must work tirelessly every day to make sure that no one is excluded or that anyone faces discrimination. And this is one of the reasons that we're proudly brought on Ken Jordan. Many of you may know Ken Jordan is our Equal Opportunity Employment Officer. Brought him on board back in 2011 as a contract employee, and finally got Ken to agree to be a full-time employee. And he has been for the last number of years. And it's Ken's responsibility for employees that have issues that they would like to go discuss if they feel they're facing any discrimination, that he has, obviously an open door policy and works closely with HR and with the employees that have complaints. This is also is a reason that we work outside of the office with a lot of the faith-based community leaders and other advocates to consult with them to make sure that we're not getting stuck in a bubble over here. Unfortunately, we lost Paul McDaniel, was one of our huge advocates here. Someone I've had the opportunity, Reverend Sands, I've had the opportunity to work with for a number of years. This has been extremely helpful to me personally, and I think to this county as well, along with a number of other people in the community that have either reached out to us or we've reached out to them. So it's really important to us to be able to have that network and that group of people to be able to consult with. Again, we work hard at it, but it doesn't mean that we always get it right. So we welcome criticism as long as it's constructive criticism, and always committed to trying to make it better. And again, we want to make sure that others have insight and are always sought so that we can be working together as a community. This is a community issue. We all know that. It's something that all of us, that are in leadership roles, want to see it get better, and it is our responsibility to make it better. And I totally accept that responsibility and have for the last several decades that I've been in a leadership role. So each year on Human Rights Day, it has a different theme. Last year, the focus was on young people and how you're never too young to make a difference to the world. And that was the focus last year. This year, in 2021, Human Rights Day is focused on how rights are being a beginning of peace within societies and a way to create a fairer society for our future generations. And I thank you for the opportunity to address you. And I hope I didn't go over my 2 minutes, Robin. Back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Coppinger. Good morning. My name is Stacy Lightfoot, and I am Vice Chancellor for Diversity and Engagement at UTC. People from many regions, nationalities, cultures, abilities, ethnicities, generations, interests, and opinions comprise the UTC community. And that makes us what and who we are, a vibrant community and an engaged university dedicated to student success and quality in everything we do. By equipping our students to participate in a global workforce, UTC plays a unique role in guaranteeing our region's competitiveness. We will keep working hard to effectively attract a larger and more diverse student population, highlighting the Center for Women and Gender Equity, the Disability Resource Center, the Office of Multicultural Affairs, and Veteran Student Services as examples of on-campus inclusion resources. We create opportunities for the campus community to listen with empathy, learn from different points of view, and engage in respectful civil discourse, while expanding possibilities for our students, faculty, and staff to learn and work in socially and culturally diverse environments. We are building a community that values and embraces diversity as a fundamental component of the university's success. I would like to express my gratitude to Rosita Delgado, Director of UTC's Office of Equity and Inclusion, and a member of the planning committee for today's event. Rosette has been tireless in her efforts on behalf of UTC's Moving Our Campus Forward, a series of campus activities and talks aimed at sparking conversations and actions around embracing equity and inclusion at UTC. On behalf of Chancellor Steve Engel and the UTC Executive Leadership Team, I am honored to participate and welcome you to today's Chattanooga Human Rights Day celebration with all of you. I am proud to represent UTC today and every day in moving our city forward. Thank you so very much. Now you will hear from Beverly Watts, Executive Director of the Tennessee Human Rights Commission. Now to you, Beverly.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 2021 International Human Rights Day in Chattanooga. We're pleased to be a partner with Chattanoogans in doing this and in developing this celebration. Let me thank UTC and its staff. Mayor Coppinger, thank you for your remarks and for your remarks on behalf of one of our commissioners, that is Commissioner Paul McDaniel, who made his transition earlier. Commissioner McDaniel was one of those lights, not only in Chattanooga, but across Tennessee, and certainly for the Tennessee Human Rights Commission. And I know working with you and others over 20 plus years in Chattanooga and as a pastor, he has left an indelible legacy for us all to follow. I would just like to mention a few other things, and that is the international theme this year is reducing inequalities and advancing human rights, and that's the UN theme. We've heard a lot of things so far, and that's a wonderful theme to have, but we just also celebrated International Tolerance Day. And the basic theme of international tolerance, simply that tolerance is respect, acceptance, and appreciation for us all and of the rich diversity each of us brings every day, wherever we are. We should be grateful today for a wonderful group of individuals who helped us plan this. And I just want to take a brief moment to just thank the planning committee. You heard Rosette Delgado, who is at the UTC, Eric Atkins, who is with the Unity Group in Chattanooga, Vanessa Jackson, who is with Multicultural Affairs for the City of Chattanooga, and to staff, THRC staff, that's Veronica McGraw and Lynn Cothran. And of course, thanks to the leadership of Ann Weeks and our chair, Robin Derryberry. Thank you so much. And now it's my pleasure to introduce another commissioner at the Tennessee Human Rights Commission. You've heard his name, and that is Commissioner Gary Behler, Hamilton County Juvenile Court Clerk. Commissioner Behler.
Thank you, Beverly. It is my distinct honor to read the State of Tennessee Proclamation for Governor Bill Lee that I have right here that I can hold up for you to see the document. And it reads as follows. Whereas the United States plays a pivotal role in protecting human rights, and whereas respect for basic human rights is important in fostering human dignity and freedom, and whereas the state of Tennessee and the Tennessee Human Rights Commission are proud of their commitment to guarantee civil and human rights for all citizens, and whereas numerous community, civic, religious, public, and private organizations work to ensure equal rights and protections for all individuals. Now, therefore, I, Bill Lee, Governor of the state of Tennessee, do hereby proclaim December 10th, 2021 a statewide Human Rights Day in Tennessee and encourage all citizens to join me in this worthy observance. Signed by the Governor, Bill Lee, and witnessed by Secretary of State Trey Hargett. Thank you for the opportunity of sharing that, and I now turn this program back over to our Planning Committee Chair, Reverend Ann Weeks.
Thank you, Commissioner Behler. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our speaker today. Mayor Tim Kelly is a lifelong resident of Chattanooga. Growing up in a family that emphasized servant leadership, he still embraces that approach today. Before taking office, Kelly served as chairman of the board for the Chattanooga Football Club, which he co-founded. He also founded, owned, or operated a number of other businesses. As a civic leader, he has served on boards for the Chattanooga Chamber of Commerce, Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Chattanooga, the Benwood Foundation, River City Company, Allied Arts, now Artsville, Chattanooga 2.0, and the Community Foundation of Greater Chattanooga, among others. It is a pleasure to welcome Chattanooga Mayor Tim Kelly to speak with us today. Mayor Kelly.
Thank you, Ann. I really appreciate your kind introduction, and it's great to be with you all today. It's somewhat of a surprise. I still am a little shocked 6 months into office that I sit in the mayor's office, but I'm honored and happy to be here, and really only here to try to fulfill the mission of One Chattanooga that I articulated in my campaign, and we'll talk about that a little more later. I also want to acknowledge the other elected officials. Mayor Coppinger, thanks for your remarks. Mayor Coppinger and I have grown quite close in my short time here in office, and I'll say once again publicly that I will miss him dearly, greatly. But we're going to make the most of the time we have remaining together in office. Thanks to Robin Derryberry, Chair of the Tennessee Human Rights Commission. Thanks, Robin, for everything you do. Thanks to Beverly Watts, the Executive Director of the Human Rights Commission, and Stacy, my good friend Stacy Lightfoot. Thanks very much. And Judge Behler, Your Honor, thank you very much for your words. I also want to acknowledge the legacy of the late Reverend McDaniel, a giant of a man, of course, and a former member of the Tennessee Human Rights Commission and Chattanooga's own civil rights pioneer. I shudder to think of where we would be as a community were it not for Reverend McDaniel. So we miss him here every day, and I suppose we can console ourselves in the fact that his legacy very much lives on in this body and elsewhere throughout the city. I know our plan, which I'll talk more about here at the city, the vision and the articulation of it is completely informed by the work of Reverend McDaniel. Again, so his legacy lives on. And the work of the Tennessee Human Rights Commission couldn't be more important than it is today. Commission, as you know, is responsible for ensuring that all Tennesseans are treated with dignity and respect and the human decency that every resident deserves. The commission does the really important work of protecting Tennesseans from racial and gender, religious, age, and disability discrimination. And that is the legacy of not only the public servants who do that work every day at the state, but the residents and advocates who fought so hard to make the commission a reality. For nearly 60 years now, the Tennessee Human Rights Commission has been protecting the dignity of Tennessee's residents and those of Chattanoogans, and for that we are extremely grateful. And there, this is a really important theme in my administration as well. We ran to get here to the mayor's office on a theme of One Chattanooga. And as we begin rolling out my administration's One Chattanooga strategy, which is really a fully articulated vision for what we see in Chattanooga's future, we have several important values. But one of those core values, and perhaps the most important, is respect. Because despite the current political environment, the one most fundamental of all values, perhaps, is respect, because without it, we can't see each other's shared humanity, and we can't get much done. One Chattanooga, to me, the core of the vision really means not only tolerating your neighbor, but seeking to understand and hear, ultimately building a community around them. This is really what localism is all about. Which is the cornerstone of this administration. And really the theme itself says it all. One Chattanooga is about closing the gaps between all Chattanoogans by seeing the humanity in each other and coming together around this place that we love and that we call home, Chattanooga. So over the last 7 months, we've been hard at work to articulate this vision and put it into action. But we've also been learning from our neighbors and listening to rank and file Chattanoogans and folks just like you along the way. So we've learned a few things, and I want to share with you a couple of key lessons that I have learned along the way. Coming from the startup world, you know, it's almost a glib statement. You hear it a lot, but it's nonetheless true. And that is, you always start with values, because culture eats strategy for breakfast. Culture is critically important, and all the strategy in the world won't get you anywhere if you don't have the drive and the belief behind it. And culture is what drives that. And again, the chief most tenet in the culture that we're building here at the city is in fact respect. Second, as they say, personnel is policy. So we're taking the time to get that right, because it's critical that we have the right team here at the city. We've got a lot of new hires to announce soon. We're quite excited about, and we're in the process of hiring a chief equity officer, which will be the first at the city of Chattanooga. That position will be a director position that will report directly to me, and that person will make sure that we get it right. Ultimately, I consider myself, frankly, to be the chief equity officer, but I can use all the help I can get. So we're quite excited about adding that position here at the city. Third, we have to have a real fire under our feet. One of the other principles that we talk about in the One Chattanooga document is the urgency of now, per Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous speech. And as most of the city employees can tell you, I come in with my hair on fire most days to try to drive that urgency here at the city. Fourth, and final, and really the reason behind our One Chattanooga plan, we've got to grapple with hard truths. Equity and the racial wealth gap. 1 in 4 kids in Chattanooga still living in poverty. One of the worst cities in America to grow up poor. All inform that urgency. I really believe we can be the best city in Chattanooga, the best city in America in Chattanooga. But in order to fully achieve that, we can and must tackle these difficult challenges, because our kids are depending on us. And most of these issues are issues that we've been sweeping under the rug for far too long. As I've said many, many times, I really don't have future political plans or ambitions. I don't mind taking on the difficult topics. And I think it's been, far too long since we did. As has been said before, the truth really will set you free. And that's the attitude that we are taking here at the city to meet these issues head on, to really explain the virtue in coming together to tackle these issues so that we can get past them, and again, make Chattanooga the best city in America, the best city that it can be. And all that is really what it means to recognize our shared dignity, to love our fellow man or woman. Pope Francis actually put it quite succinctly when he said, if you trample on the dignity of another human being, you trample on your own. And I believe that's absolutely right. When we lose sight of the struggle of our most vulnerable residents, and who among us is more vulnerable than children, we lose something human in ourselves. So on today's Human Rights Day, I challenge all Chattanooga to rise to this occasion and commit ourselves to tackling this work head on, and with candor and with clarity. And I'll start by telling you the city of Chattanooga is doing that work ourselves. We've committed $1 million to our Community Forward Schools initiative, putting city staff in public schools for the first time since the school merger, which is going to hopefully connect kids and their families to needed resources and create a connection point between our community centers and corresponding schools, starting in the Midtown district, school districts around Brainerd. The idea there is to create wraparound services to make sure that kids and their families who are in or near crisis don't fall between the cracks, which happens far too often today. Later today, in fact, you're going to hear more about our administration, how our administration rather is bringing in key services for new parents into those community centers, teaching young people how to prepare their lives to raise a child. We're also committed to the hard work of building a real connected early learning system, not just a patchwork of providers trying to go it alone. I fervently believe that that is the single most important thing that we can do for the long-term good and future of Chattanooga, is to build a high-quality early learning system, and we're committed to that work here, as difficult as it may be. Finally, we're working alongside our partners in higher education and local business to create a real rescaling process that will help our residents begin to climb the next rung of the economic ladder and provide meaningful opportunity to their families. I'm particularly grateful for Mayor Coppinger's vision, and we're working together on a lot of workforce development initiatives, including, of course, the Building Trades Center at the old Garber site, which I think will provide a tremendous impact to the community once it's open and rolling. As I mentioned before, you know, I'm a localist at heart. And while I believe there's a lot of good work to do all over the globe, I think securing human rights starts right here at home. As has been said before, it's hard to hate up close. And if we focus on each other and our needs and our common interests, the division and the ideology tends to fall away. This is not meant to be a religious speech, but for those of you that are Christians, I don't think this is much more complicated than what I consider to be the core tenet of Christianity. Love thy neighbor as thyself. It's really not that complicated, honestly. This is also the soul of localism, and it's what we try to practice here at the city every day. Because of people like each of you, we're well on our way to realizing this vision in Chattanooga. I'm proud to be serving, doing this work alongside you as the mayor of the city of Chattanooga, and I intend to make the most of my time here every day. I thank you for having me today, and thank you for all the hard work you do to improve lives across our community and across our state every day. So with that, I will close, and I guess turn it back over to Beverly.
Thank you, Mayor Kelly. Thank you for those words, and thank you for your vision for the Chattanooga moving forward. We want to thank all of you all for being here today. I'd like to take an opportunity to thank our committee members. I think once again, that's Rosita Delgado, Eric Atkins, Veronica McGraw, Lynn Cothran, and to the leadership of Robin Derryberry, our chair of the Tennessee Human Rights Commission, and the Reverend Ann Weeks. I'd also just like to close with this quote from Eleanor Roosevelt, which I think dovetails into Mayor Kelly's remarks. It says, "Where, after all, do universal human rights begin? In small places close to home, so close and so small that they cannot be seen on any maps of the world. Yet they are the world of the individual person, the neighborhood they live in, the school or college that they attend, the factory, farm, or office where they work. Such are the places where every woman, man, and child seek equal justice, equal opportunity, and equal dignity without discrimination. Unless these rights have meaning there, they have little meaning anywhere. Without concerted citizen action to uphold them close to home, we shall look in vain for progress in the larger world. Our challenge is always to work close to home. And I like what you said, Mayor Kelly, no one can hate up close, and that is true. We must have tolerance. We must have will to make, reach out to those in our communities, and we must have the will to do what is right. I think, again, thank you all for being here today. Thank you for all the work that you are doing in Chattanooga. And we want to thank you that you were here today to hear this. And Mayor Kelly, we wish you all the best. And Mayor Coppinger, we wish you the best as you go on, as you get ready to enter into a new world of retirement, they say. I don't think that's the case. I've seen you and I know your record, but we wish you well. Again, we want to wish everyone happy holidays coming forward. And again, thank you for being here for the Chattanooga International Human Rights Day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.